Welcome back to my channel. Today we prepared some interesting combination puzzles.
Yeah, hi. So today we're really gonna watch very exciting positions, and we would like to start with this incredible end game. So in this position, we play for white. It looks like white got into trouble because black pawn can promote, and I don't see the way how we can stop it. Yeah, because after rook h1, we just lose the rook. But even in this position, it's possible to win. So let's think all together what we can do. Maybe Tara, you can tell us about candidate moves. Yeah, so should we start with some quiet moves, or it's better to calculate moves with captures or with checks first?
I think our plan here is to try to draw the black king.
Mhm.
Maybe you could try the move rook d2.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Try and
so
draw the black king.
yeah, thank you. You're right. Of course, when we feel like it's a critical position in a game or we look for it some combinations or tactics, first of all, we have to think about moves with check or with captures. Yeah, so that's why we can think about rook g2 or rook h3. So your proposition was rook to g2, so let's discuss it first. Okay, so it looks like we sacrifice the rook. Yeah, of course, if for some reason black doesn't capture it, yeah, for example, plays maybe king h3, yeah, then it looks like the rook gets at the first rank, right? And we stop the black pawn. So of course, for black, it would be better just to capture it. So what would we do in this position?
Now the bishop can take the pawn in d5.
Yeah, it looks like a double attack, and we may say that, okay, we got a winning endgame with several extra pawns, yeah, and that's all. Because if black moves the king, for example, to g3, we just get the pawn on a2. And of course, this endgame is absolutely winning. But we have to think about all candidate moves for our opponent, yeah, not just for ourselves. So I suppose that black has something better than just moving the king somewhere. So what else black can do, Tara?
Black can move the knight to e4.
Wow, what a sacrifice. Yeah, so the knight moves to e4 with check, and of course, white bishop doesn't have enough time to capture the pawn. Yeah, so like if the king moves, black just promotes. So of course, the bishop has to capture. Okay, probably I'm gonna move my king to g3, yeah, because I want to attack the pawn. And in this position, we may think that, uh-oh, that's all, black gonna promote and we can resign. But we don't give up and we can find a very interesting plan. So even in this position, when we see that we can't stop this pawn, yeah, we still can get a winning position. So Tara, I need your help.
This is an interesting idea if you move the king to c1.
Really? King to c1? Okay. So I don't know. I still promote and now even with check. So what happens then?
Now you block the check with the bishop.
So it looks like we trap the black queen at the corner, right? So and now it doesn't have any good moves. No matter where where the queen moves, yeah, we're gonna capture it. So the queen is trapped, and of course, like this extra queen doesn't help black to win position. So what if I try to capture the pawn? What would you do?
Then you can move the pawn to g6.
Okay, I still have a hope to stop it, but probably I can't. Yeah. So yeah, and so this position is absolutely winning for white. So very nice plan. I think that we can repeat it one more time. Yeah, so now I hope you understand the difference between rook h3 and rook g2. If we start with rook h3, we just lose the rook. Yeah, and the bishop captures the pawn without check. So that's why rook g2, we use an idea of decoying. We want to decoy the king. Bishop takes d5, yeah, and by the way, you can also memorize this plan not just for white, but for black too. Because if black plays king g3, so probably the game is over for black. So that's why knight e4, yeah, also very nice plan, a very nice idea, because we want to deflect the white bishop from this diagonal. Yeah, and now it's one more example that you shouldn't give up, even if you think that your position is very bad. Yeah, so an incredible plan with king c1 and then just bishop b1. So the queen is trapped, and what a position. So I really like it.
It shows in this position that even though black was able to get a queen, that white was able to calculate everything, and then at the end, white had a winning position.
Yeah. I hope that you enjoyed this position and this example, so I suppose it's very nice. Okay, so now we can go to next position. Yeah, so probably this position is a little bit easier, but still nice. Yeah, I showed this position to several of my students, and of course, most of them just played queen g6. Yeah, queen captures g6, and after f5 takes g6, they got an extra rook. So yeah, actually, this variation is correct. But the problem is that we didn't think about all candidate moves for black. Of course, if black captures the queen, we get an extra rook. But what happens if black moves the king to h8? Is it still possible for us to get an extra material in this position? Because to be honest, I'm not sure. Yeah?
Even if you play queen h5, then the rook will block.
Yeah, of course, rook goes to h7, and I don't think that this position is winning for white. Yeah? So that's why we keep in our minds this plan. Yeah, it's really nice to move the queen to g6 and then double attack for the rook and for the king. But we should do this when black can't play king h8. So Tara, please, what ideas do you have?
Maybe you can try giving a check. I see one good check, which is queen h5.
Yeah, so we play queen h5, yeah? You see that your rook is controlling g file, so that's why the black king can't escape. And the only move that black has is queen to h6. Okay, maybe we can trade queens? What do you think? Would it be a good
Maybe
idea?
maybe you could move queen g6.
Yeah, so now I hope that you see the difference because, of course, after king h8, nothing good happens, right? So just the queen will be unprotected. So in this position, we don't give black any choice. So king h8 would be a mistake. Yeah, so like, but I also can say that queen g6 is such a good move. So like, no matter how black plays, both the moves are not so good. And now we capture with the pawn and get the black rook. Yeah. So
Yeah.
also a nice example, yeah, if you say winning plan, make sure that it really works and your opponent can't prevent it. Yeah, so that's why we don't hurry up. We don't start with queen g6 in this position. So queen h5 first, yeah, and only after queen h6 we play queen g6 because now, yeah, king h8 or queen takes g6, no matter what, yes, these two moves still will be not so good for black. Okay, so nice
In this
position.
position, and this puzzle, I think it shows that when you see a good move, look for a better one. The
Yeah, of
move queen
course.
g6, it wasn't the best move, but if you play queen h5, it is the best move.
Yeah, you're right. So thank you, Tara. Yeah, and let's watch one more position. I also really like it. So this position happened in a real game. You see that black's king position looks a little bit danger. Yes, so weak dark squares. The dark square bishop is here. Maybe the knight wants to jump to f6. But right now, it's also a problem for white, this pinned knight. Yeah, and you may think that, oh, I'm gonna lose it, right? So black can get an extra piece. So in this position, we should not just save the knight, but we have to get an extra material. Yeah, and as always, we can start our calculations from finding candidate moves, yeah, checks or captures. So please, Tara, what ideas do you have?
I think one part of developing a plan is looking at the king's safety. Here, the black king is not very safe, so white is able to make a combination.
Yeah, you're right.
White can play queen takes c7.
Okay, so queen takes c7. So you decided to start with queen sacrifice. Okay. Of course, we have to discuss queen takes c7, and this is what actually happened in a game. So we just lost the queen. What to do for white in this position?
Maybe you can try knight f6.
Yeah, so of course, we should try to force the position and make all the moves with check. Yeah, so good for us that our dark square bishop controls g7 and f8, and the only move that the black king has is h8. Okay, now probably it should be a check again.
I see two different checks. First, let's try rook takes e8 and see if it works.
Yeah, so probably you see bishop to g7 and rook takes e8. Let's see if there is any difference between these moves. Okay, so rook takes e8. Again, I think that there is no choice for black and rook has to capture. So, of course, we can take the rook immediately, but black still has a queen, so not so good for us. So probably we can try something else.
Now you have to draw the king in.
So what about the bishop?
Now you can play bishop g7.
Yeah, so bishop g7, it's a check. And again, the king can't get to g8, so that's why king captures g7. And now we have a fork. So it was our plan. We wanted to decoy the king to g7. And we just have an absolutely winning position with an extra rook. Yeah, so good for us. Yeah. Now let's go back and see is there is the similar position if we start with bishop g7 first. Okay, so of course the king captures, no choice. And now we can play rook to, takes e8. So what is the plan? If the rook captures, we still have a fork, yeah? But of course, in this position, black doesn't have to take the rook, right? So probably like black can try something else in this position. So I don't know, maybe rook to c8. Yeah, so let's just like trade rooks. So if rook g8, yeah, we just capture it and white still can't play knight e8. Yeah, if like trade rooks, okay, I can take with a queen or with a bishop. So yeah, and of course position is not winning. Yeah, so let's go back and let's repeat this combination one more time. So queen takes c7 is a nice move. Yeah, we like also want to decoy the queen to c7, but at the same time we want to deflect it from protecting f6. Yeah. So captures,
I think the
check.
best move for black was not to take the queen.
Yeah, of course we're gonna discuss it. So queen takes c7, knight f6. And in this position, you have to capture the rook first. Yeah, so again, white has two candidate moves. Yeah, but when we calculated both of them, of course, we found that rook takes e8 is the only one right move in this position. Yeah, and only then we decoy the king to g7, and knight takes e8 is a fork. Yeah, okay, so let's go back. You said something about like not taking the queen. Yeah, so in the game, unfortunately, black decided to capture it, but black has much better move. So please let us know your ideas.
Maybe black can take the knight on e4.
Yeah, so black wants to get a piece back. Yeah, white just captured a bishop and black gets a knight back. And in this position, unfortunately, we can't get an extra rook or an extra queen. We can just capture the pawn on b7. And by the way, it's also not so bad for us. So better than nothing. Yeah, so and white just gets an extra pawn. So very nice. Yeah, so and again, how did we find this queen takes c7? Candidate moves, checks or captures. Yeah, so of course you should also calculate in positions like this, moves like knight f6, for example. Yeah, so probably this move is also not so bad for white. Yeah, but queen takes c7 is the most powerful move in this position. So I hope that you enjoyed this puzzle and previous puzzles too.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to others. And I'll see you on my next video. Bye!
Bye bye!